So as Christian men, we want to stay informed of what's going on in the world, current events, what's happening. But the secular news outlets put so much spin on it. It can be frustrating, right? Hey, I get it. Well, in this video today, I'm going to show you a podcast that I listen to 5 days a week that helps us to stay informed without the spin. That's coming up today on My Virtual Mentor. Hey, my friend, my name is David Robertson. I lead men to go further, faster in their faith in Jesus Christ. If you're new to the channel, man, welcome. I'm so glad that you found us. Every week, I release a cool discipleship tool to help men just like you to develop yourself or mentor a friend or build your team. And if that sounds of interest to you, I'd love so much if you consider hitting that subscribe button. And as a way of saying thank you, I'd love to give you my free ebook. It's called 6 Challenges Every Christian Man Must Conquer, Leveling Up to a New and Improved You. You'll find a link in the description below. Okay, so yeah, we have jobs, we go to church, we want to talk intelligent with our wives and our kids in the context of socially that we're in. But going through the secular news or what's on the internet or what's on the cable outlets can be really, really frustrating and aggravating a little bit because of all the biases and prejudices and things like that, the political spin on it. And so about 3 years ago, a friend of mine at church, he suggested, well, why don't you listen to the World and Everything in It podcast? The World and Everything in It. And boy, am I glad that I did. I turned off all other news outlets and I've tuned into this. And it's been a wonderful experience for me to stay on top of current events, on world events. It's been called like the NPR from a Christian worldview. Okay? And what they do in this podcast, first of all, it's a 30-minute podcast, like a half-hour power. Now, in the spirit of full disclosure, I got to tell you, I speeded up 1.5 times. I'll take all the podcasts I listen to, all the sermons, all the other podcasts, I speed up 1.5 times. And I'll take a 30-minute sermon or podcast down to about 20 minutes or so. And they start off with a summary of the news. Here's what's going on, in the United States from where I'm podcasting. I'm listening to the news here in my country, over the U.S. And so, start off with the news, and it's just a succinct summary of the news. And then they segue into some stories, some longer stories about certain issues that are hot topics, they're urgent of what's going on in the culture. They have interviews from really prominent people, political leaders, Christian leaders, pastors. It's not all just Christian, it's just filtered through a Christian worldview. And that's what I appreciate about it. It's honest, objective, not, just ramming Christianity down everybody's throat, but just presenting biblically objective news through that grid and filter. So I find it very helpful, very refreshing, and very informative without all the spin. And that's what we want, right? Just give me the facts, give me the bottom line, give me the bullet points, and let me assess and decide how I want to interpret that and how I want to share that and integrate it into my life in a meaningful way. So they do movie reviews and book reviews and other special interest features. But there's some things they do on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays that are really I find kind of cool and stimulate my interest. On Mondays, they do the legal docket, where they talk about, of course, cases in the Supreme Court that have relevance to the Christians. So this is something I never would do. I would never look at those unless I listen to this podcast. They also do on Mondays the Money Beat, where they talk about the U.S. economy and kind of brings that into focus of what's going on in our country economically. On Wednesdays, it's Washington Wednesday, right? And they talk about topics that are pertinent to our political system. Of course, that's nearly every day, but they focus in on that. They have interviews and whatnot. And then on Fridays, they do Culture Fridays with John Stonestreet. He's president of the Colson Center. In fact, he's such a powerful speaker. I subscribe to his podcast. It's called Breakpoint, but that's another video for another day. But it's just fantastic. And so I listen to this Monday through Friday, usually in the gym while I'm working out. I can get a sermon and this podcast in a 45-minute workout. So it's just fantastic. So let me take you to the website and I'll show you how to sign up real quick, and you might consider checking it out. Okay, here we are at the website for The World and Everything in It. I'll put the link in the description below, but it's so easy to subscribe to podcasts through, iTunes or Google Play or other ways you get the podcast in your podcatcher, or you can just come to the website, and I'll put this page link there, and you can just listen to it, right here, through your browser.
The World and Everything in It is made possible by listeners like us. My name is Meredith Montgomery. I live in Ellensburg, Washington, and I'm a homeschooled high school student.
All right, and so this is listener supported. In fact, I give financially to this from time to time because I believe in it, in biblical journalism. And so, anyway, this is the World and Everything podcast. Okay, so I got a question for you. Are you up for a challenge? And here's this week's challenge for you. I'm going to challenge you to download the World and Everything in It podcast, however you get that, or to go to the website. And I want you to listen to it for 5 consecutive days, just 1 week, and see if this isn't something that will help you to stay informed without the spin. Okay? So that's my challenge to you. Well, listen, I hope that you find this helpful, and maybe you can share it with a friend. I'd love to hear your comments below of how you get the news in a way that would be meaningful to you from a Christian worldview. And so just go ahead and leave that comment in the comments below. And so for now, I'm David, your virtual mentor, leading men just like you to go further, faster in your faith. I'll be back next week with another discipleship tool. I'll see you then. God bless.